Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all my lovely girls. Okay, I wish you all have a good day today and get ready to learn the new thing today. Alright, so today we are going to cover 10.7 human lymphatic system. Yeah, 10.7 human lymphatic systems. So we are on the second last subtopic in the chapter 10. Okay, let's take a look on the learning standard that you have to cover in the 10.7 lymphatic systems of human. Okay, pupils are able to synthesize the process of formation of tissue, fluid, and lymph. Alright, okay, tissue, fluid, and lymph. The second one, compare and contrast the contents of the lymph and tissue fluid and also blood. Right? Okay, then number 3, describe components of the lymphatic system that consist of the lymph, lymphatic capillaries, lymphatic vessels, lymph node, and also lymphatic organ. And the last one, justify the necessity of the lymphatic system that complement the blood circulatory system and also transport the lipid-soluble substances and also as a body defense. Alright, okay, that is referred to the learning standard that you have to cover for today. Okay, now we go to the formation of the tissue fluid. Alright, so what is a tissue fluid? Okay, before we go to the formation of the tissue fluid, okay, so please read here. There is one more system in the body whose function is closely related to the blood circulatory system. Okay, so the system is called the lymphatic system. Okay, the lymphatic system is closely related to the blood circulatory system. Yeah, alright. Okay, so why it is closely related? We already discussed in the previous, previous topic. Do you still remember in the chapter 9? Okay, so uh, we are going to discuss more about that. Alright, okay, so actually what is a tissue fluid? Tissue fluid refer to the fluid, that constantly bath the cell. Bath the cell. Okay, so let's take a look on the diagram here. Okay, so this is referred to the structure of our, this is our artery, and this is referred to the arteriole, and this is referred to the capillaries. Yeah, okay, blood capillaries. Okay, and then this is our venule, and this is referred to the vein. Okay, so why we discuss about this location? Yeah, so in this location, what happened? What process occur? Exchange of substances between the blood capillaries and body cell. And at this location also, the tissue fluid will form. Yeah, the tissue fluid will form. Okay, so what is a tissue fluid? Refer to the fluid that consistently or constantly bath the cell. Yeah, bath the cell. So within the blood capillaries here, yeah, so there are body cells. There are body cells. Okay, so there is an exchange of substances between the blood capillaries and the body cells. Right? So at the same time, when the exchange of the substance occur, the tissue fluid also form. The tissue fluid also form. Okay, so make sure you are familiar with this diagram. So if in the question asking you about the formation of the tissue fluid or interstitial fluid, and then you have to explain this diagram. Okay, Don't worry, we are going to discuss about this, alright? Okay, now we go to the formation of the tissue fluid. Okay, so this structure is the same, yeah, just as previous, same, don't worry, so it's just same. So this is our arteriole, this is arteriole, okay, this is our capillaries, and this is our venule, right? Okay, so, right, so one more structure that you have to know. Okay, this is referred to the lymph capillary. Lymph capillaries. Lymph capillaries join into a bigger vessel, so it will form lymphatic vessel. Okay, and this structure, okay, all of this structure, the round one here, they are tissue cells or body cells. Alright, okay, so okay, what happened during the formation of the tissue fluid? Okay, first, the blood that reached the arterial end of the blood capillary has a high pressure due to the small diameter of capillaries and the pumping force of the heart. Right? Okay, I repeat. The blood that reached the arterial end. So this is referred to the arterial end. So the blood that reached, the arterial end, okay, is under high pressure. Okay, why under high pressure? Because of the smaller diameter of the capillary here. Okay, so this is a bigger diameter. When it enter into the capillary here, so it has a smaller diameter. So when the blood is enter from the bigger size of the vessel to the smaller size of the vessel, it will create a high pressure. Yeah, we create a high pressure, and also high pressure is come from the pumping force of the heart. Okay, second one, okay, this pressure allows the blood plasma to diffuse continuously, from the blood capillaries to the intercellular space. Yeah, right. Okay, so the high pressure just now that produced from the because of the difference in the diameter, of the capillaries and also at the arterial end here. So, and also from the pumping of the heart. So the force that comes from that two sources now, will allow the blood to diffuse. So now the blood diffuse out from the blood capillaries to the intercellular space. Okay, so what is an intercellular space? It is a space between the cells. It is a space between the body cell. Okay, so now the content of the blood or the blood plasma, the content of the blood will diffuse out from the blood capillaries. Diffuse out from the blood capillaries to the intercellular space. So now the content of the blood now already out, of the blood capillary, and will occupy the intercellular space. Okay, what is the intercellular space? It is a space between the cells. The space between the cells. Okay. Then, the blood plasma occupies the intercellular space and constantly bath cells. So, the blood plasma that occupies the intercellular space and constantly bath cell is called tissue fluid. It's called tissue fluid. Okay. So, what is a tissue fluid? It is a fluid or the blood plasma. The blood plasma that occupies, yang memenuhi, memenuhi di mana, in the intercellular space, and will constantly bath the cell. Okay, that is referred to the tissue fluid. Okay, I repeat, what is a tissue fluid? It is referred to the blood plasma or the fluid that occupies the intercellular space and will bath the cell, constantly. Okay, that is referred to the tissue fluid. Right. Okay, so we continue about the formation of the tissue fluid just now. Yeah, so the tissue fluid does not contain any erythrocyte. Yeah, the tissue fluid just now that form. Yeah, that form does not contain any erythrocyte. Okay, what is an erythrocyte? It is a red blood cell. Okay, the platelet and so does not contain any plasma protein. Okay, what is the reason? Because they are too large. Erythrocyte, platelet, and plasma protein are too large to diffuse out of the blood capillaries. Okay, we know that the blood capillaries wall is only the thickness of the blood capillary is only one cell thick, right? So these cells are too large to pass through or to diffuse out of the blood capillaries. So the tissue fluids allow the exchange of materials in the blood and cells to occur. Yeah. So now uh, between the cell just now or in the intercellular space is full with the tissue fluid. And what happened there? The exchange of the fluid. Oh, sorry, the exchange of the materials occur between the blood and the cells. Yeah. The nutrient and oxygen diffuse from the tissue fluid to the body cell. Okay, the nutrient that already diffuse out from the blood capillary just now enter into the intercellular space and then uh, it will diffuse diffuse from the tissue fluid to the body cell, enter into the body cell to be used by the cell. Yeah, okay, and also oxygen. Yeah, oxygen also diffuse from the tissue to the body cells. Okay, simultaneously, excretory products and carbon dioxide diffuse from the body cells to the blood capillary through the tissue fluid. Okay, so at the same time, the carbon dioxide, the waste product from the body cell will diffuse out from the body cell into the tissue fluid, okay, into the tissue fluid. So the exchange of the materials occur in the intercellular space, within the tissue fluid. Okay, now we go to the lymph formation and components of the lymphatic system. Okay, so make sure you have understand about the formation of the tissue fluid. Yeah, how does the tissue fluid is formed? Yeah, how does the tissue fluid is formed? And then what is the content of the tissue fluid? Right? Okay, so you have to know what is the content of the tissue fluid. The tissue fluid consists of the nutrients, consists of the oxygen, or the respiratory gases, and also the waste product, but not the erythrocyte, platelets, and plasma protein because they are too large to diffuse out through the blood capillaries. Okay, so now and the tissue fluid, the tissue fluid or the blood plasma just now that comes out from the blood capillary will occupy the intercellular space. Will occupy the intercellular space that will form the tissue fluid. Okay, and then what happened? The exchange of the material occur between the tissue fluid and the body cells. Okay, the nutrient inside the tissue fluid and also the oxygen will diffuse into the cell. Okay, and at the same time, the excretory products, the waste product, the carbon dioxide, the urea from the body cell will diffuse out into the tissue fluid. Okay, so the exchange of the materials occur in the tissue fluid. Okay, now we are going to talk about the lymph formation and components of the lymphatic system. Lymph formation and the components of the lymphatic system. Okay, so at the venule end of the blood capillary. At the venule end of the blood capillary, blood plasma is hypertonic compared to the tissue fluid surrounding it. Okay, so this is referred to the arterial arterial end, yeah, arterial end. So this is referred to the blood capillaries, yeah, capillaries here. Okay, the blood capillaries. Okay, this is referred to the venule end. This is referred to the venule end. Yeah, venule end. So after the venule end is the venule and then vein. Right. Okay. So at the venule end, the blood plasma, yeah, the blood plasma inside the blood capillary is hypertonic compared to the tissue fluid surrounding it. Okay, why the blood plasma is hypertonic here? Because most of the blood plasma content is diffused out. Yeah, diffused out because of the high pressure just now produced in the arterial end. So it will force the blood plasma content diffuse out, and then it will cause the blood plasma at the end of the venule become hypertonic to the tissue fluid. Yeah, to the tissue fluid. So the blood pressure is also lower. Now the blood pressure is also lower. Okay, as a result, the reabsorption of water and mineral salts and waste take place in the venule end. So now, what happened since the venule end here is hypertonic and outside is hypo, so the water, the mineral salt and also waste product will diffuse back into the venule, yeah, into the venule, yeah. Okay, water will diffuse by osmosis, yeah, the mineral salts, yeah, and the waste will diffuse by a simple diffusion into the venule. All right, so okay, so what does it mean? Okay, now most of the tissue fluid now will enter back into the venule end. However, only 85% of the fluid that leave the blood at the arteriole end of the blood capillary diffuse back into the venule end. Okay, so however, 85% of the tissue fluid just now that reabsorbed back into the venule end is diffused back to the venule end. 85% only diffused back into the venule end, but the another 15% is left there. Yeah, 15% is left there. Okay, so please understand here. Uh, at the venule end, yeah, at the venule end, water is reabsorbed, yeah, mineral salt is reabsorbed, nutrient also reabsorbed, yeah, the left one, okay, and the reabsorbed back into the venule end. But only 85%, yeah, 85% of the fluid, yeah, okay, enter or diffuse back into the venule end, yeah. What happens to the remaining 15% that left in the intercellular space? Yeah. So when 85% is diffused back into the venule end, there is left another 15% in the intercellular space. Yeah, in the intercellular space. So this remainder form, right? This remainder, so the remainder forms about 4 liters of fluid that is lost. Yeah, loss from capillaries each day. Yeah, the remainder, the 15% just now, forms about 4 liters of fluid that is lost from the capillaries each day. Right? Right? Okay. Okay, I hope you can understand, yeah. So we almost there. So you have to understand that 85% of the tissue fluid, yeah, of the tissue fluid will diffuse back into the venule end. It will diffuse back up to the venule end, and then uh, the 15%, yeah, the 15% will remain in the intercellular space. Yeah, so the 15% here is equal to the 4 liters of the fluid that is lost from the capillaries, yeah, from our capillaries each day. Okay, so we continue again to the okay. The lost fluid is collected and returned to the blood through the lymphatic capillary. Okay, the lost fluid now refer to the 15% that left in the intercellular space just now. Yeah, 15%. The 85% is reabsorbed back to the venule end or diffuse back to the venule end. But the left is 15%. So the 15% fluid is collected, is collected and returned to the blood, through the lymphatic capillary. Okay, so that's why the lymphatic system is very important, because the lost fluid or the remaining 15% fluid just now that not returned to the venule will will collected by the lymphatic system. Yeah, okay, through what? Through lymphatic capillary. So which the smallest vessel in the lymphatic system? Yeah, okay. So this fluid is known as lymph and is pale yellow in color. Okay, so once the fluid, okay, please look at here. So the structure, the green color here. So this is referred to the lymph capillary. Okay, so this is arteriole. Okay, so this is arteriole. This is a capillary. So within the capillary, okay, within the body cells, there is a lymphatic capillaries. A lymphatic capillaries, the smallest vessel in the lymphatic system. Okay, so what happened? The 15% of the remaining fluid just now, of the tissue fluid just now, will enter into the lymphatic capillaries. Okay, once it enter into the lymphatic capillary, the tissue fluid just now is called as lymph. Yeah, lymph. Okay, L-Y-M-P-H. L-Y-M-P-H. Lymph. Yeah. So when does it call as lymph? Once it enter the lymphatic capillary. When it outside the lymphatic capillary or within the body cell or tissue cell, it is called as a tissue fluid. So when the tissue fluid enter into the lymphatic capillary, it is called as lymph. Yeah? And the color of the lymph is pale yellow. Yeah, pale yellow. Okay, same also here refer to the lymph capillary. Okay, what can we see here? The remaining 15% of tissue fluid enter into the lymphatic capillary. Yeah, enter into the lymphatic capillary and will form the lymph. Okay, now we go to the comparison between the lymph and the tissue fluid. Okay, what is a comparison? Okay, apa bezanya di antara lymph and also tissue fluid? Okay, make sure you know where is the location of the lymph inside the lymphatic capillaries. Okay, where is the location of the tissue fluid? Yeah, in the intercellular space. Okay, where is the intercellular space? Refer to the space between the body cells, yeah, or tissue cells. Okay, so what are the similarity? Both contain plasma without the plasma proteins, erythrocyte, and platelets. Okay, so both contain plasma without tanpa plasma protein, erythrocyte. Why? Because these three substances are too large, to diffuse out from the blood capillaries. Okay. And then the differences, okay, between the lymph and tissue fluid. Okay, lymph has a higher content of fat and fat soluble substance. Okay, while the tissue fluid low content of fat and fat soluble substances. Okay, and then a high content of the lymphocyte. And then the tissue fluid low content of the lymphocyte. Do you remember what is a lymphocyte? Lymphocyte is one of the white blood cells. Yeah, the white blood cell which is referred to the agranulocyte. Yeah, what is the function of the lymphocyte? The lymphocyte will produce antibody. Yeah, it will produce antibody. Okay, so these are referred to the difference between the lymph and the tissue fluid. Okay, basically what is the difference? The lymph contain higher fat, yeah, while the tissue fluid contain lower fat. Okay, a lymph content has a higher lymphocyte. Okay, tissue fluid lower content of lymphocyte. Okay, now we go to the comparison between the lymph and the blood. Now the lymph and the blood. Okay, what are the similarities? Okay, similarity both contain all the content of plasma such as nutrients, hormone, enzymes, cellular waste, respiratory gases, and leukocyte. Yeah, leukocyte. Okay, so both contain all the content of the blood plasma. Okay, then we go to the difference. Okay, so lymph and the blood. Lymph does not contain any plasma protein, erythrocyte, and the platelet. Same with the tissue. It does not contain plasma protein, erythrocyte, and platelet. Okay. While the blood contains plasma protein, erythrocyte, and also platelet. Okay. So these are referred to the comparison between the lymph and the blood. Okay. Now we are still in the lymph formation and the components of the lymphatic system. Okay. Yeah? So the lymphatic capillary wall consists of the one layer of cell only. Okay, just now the lymphatic capillary in the previous diagram, it consists only one layer of cells. Same with the blood capillary. Yeah, okay, just made up of one layer of cell. Okay, the lymphatic capillary differs from blood capillary because one of its end is blocked or closed while the other end is connected to the lymphatic system, lymphatic vessel. Okay, the lymphatic capillaries found in the intercellular spaces merge to form a larger lymphatic vessel. Okay, so along the lymphatic vessel, there are lymph nodes at certain distance. Okay, later we will look at the diagram. Don't worry about that. Yeah, so you have to know that lymphatic capillary, the end of the lymphatic capillary is blocked or closed. Okay, we call as blunt end. Yeah, okay. The lymphatic capillaries that then will merge to form a larger lymphatic vessel. Yeah, and along the lymphatic vessel there is a lymph node. Okay, let's take a look on this structure. Alright, just now we talked about the lymphatic capillary, right? Okay, so this is referred to the lymphatic capillary. The yellow structure here refer to the lymphatic capillary. So as you can see from here, the lymphatic capillary end is blunt or is closed or blocked. Yeah, so we can see the end of the lymphatic capillary here is closed. We call as blunt end. Yeah, blunt end capillary or blunt end lymphatic capillary or blunt end vessel. Alright, so the lymphatic capillary will merge to form the lymphatic vessel. Merge to form the lymphatic vessel. Okay, alright, so this is referred to the structure, the lymph formation. Yeah, the lymph formation. So I hope you still can remember how does the lymph form? The lymph form when the 15% of the remaining of the tissue fluid enter into the lymphatic capillary. Yeah, enter into the lymphatic capillary. Okay, so next we go to the the structure. Yeah, the structure of all the component of the lymphatic system. Okay, the structure or the component of the lymphatic system. Alright. Okay, the lymphatic system consists of organs such as lymph node, spleen, thymus gland, bone marrow, tonsil, and also appendix. Okay, so all of these are the organ of the lymphatic system. So, if you can see the nodes here ya, ketulan yang bulat-bulat ini semuanya adalah lymph node. Ya, lymph node, right? Okay. And then, alright. Okay, the lymphatic system does not have its own pump to circulate the lymph along the lymphatic vessel. So there is no pump. Yeah, no pump in the lymphatic system. So this is referred to the thymus, this is referred to the spleen, right? Okay, the flow of lymph is aided or is helped by heartbeat pulse, contraction of skeletal muscles, peristalsis in the digestive tract, and changes in pressure during inhalation and exhalation of the breath. Okay, that's how the lymph flow. Yeah? Okay, in the lymphatic vessel, one-way valve ensure. So there is a one-way valve, ensure the lymph flows continuously to the heart. This valve also prevent the lymph from flowing back. Okay, so you have to know in the lymphatic vessel there is a valve. So this valve will ensure the lymph flow in one direction, in one direction, and it also prevent the lymph from flowing back. Okay, now we go to the relationship between the blood circulatory system and the lymphatic system. So all the lymphatic vessels will eventually join with one of the two main lymphatic vessels, which are the thoracic duct and right lymphatic duct. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so all the lymphatic vessel from in the body, all the lymphatic vessel in the body will eventually join, with the either thoracic duct or right lymphatic duct. If left side, it will join to the thoracic duct. It will join to the thoracic duct. If the right side, so this is referred to the right side, will join to the right lymphatic duct here. Yeah, this is right lymphatic duct. So at the left side, it will join, all the lymphatic vessels will join to the thoracic duct. Yeah, we join to the thoracic duct. Okay, the right lymphatic duct receive lymph from the right hand, chest, and right side of the head and also neck. Right? Okay. And the thoracic duct here will receive the lymph from the left side of the head, neck, and chest, and all the body parts below the ribs here. Okay. So, alright. So please look at here. This is referred to the lymph node. Yeah, the structure of the lymph node. Inside the lymph node, there is a lymphocyte. So the lymphocytes will produce the antibodies. Yeah, will produce antibodies. Okay, the thoracic duct just now, will deliver its content into the left subclavian vein. The thoracic duct refer to the left side. Yeah, the thoracic duct just now that collect the lymph, from the all parts of the left side. So will deliver its content to the left subclavian vein. Okay, where is the left subclavian here? So, right, where is the left subclavian vein here? Right, so this is the right, the lymphatic duct, and here this is referred to the. Alright, it's not showing here the thoracic duct, but it's just show the right lymphatic duct. Yeah, so you have to know the thoracic duct will deliver its content to the left subclavian vein. Okay, while the right lymphatic duct will deliver or transport the lymph into the right subclavian vein, and both duct will deliver the contents into the blood circulatory system. So the lymph collected from the whole body will flow back into the blood circulatory system. So once the thoracic duct and the right lymphatic duct deliver its content to the left subclavian vein and also right subclavian vein, so now the lymph will enter, will flow back to the blood circulatory system. So okay, so that's how the lymphatic system and the blood circulatory system is closely related. Okay, the necessity of the lymphatic system. So why the lymphatic system is very important? Okay, first, it complements, it complements the blood circulatory system. Dia melengkapkan sistem peredaran darah. So the lymphatic system returns the excess tissue fluid, in the intercellular space into the blood flow. The excess tissue fluid just now that refer to the lymph. Returns the excess tissue fluid in the intercellular space into the blood flow. So the composition, pressure and volume of the blood are maintained at a normal range. Yeah? Now the loss of the blood, the loss of the blood can be written. Yeah, the blood that lost through the formation of the tissue fluid just now will return back to the blood circulatory system, and they will maintain the volume of the blood. Okay, then the body defense. In the body defense, okay, the lymphatic system is also very important because the lymph node produce and store lymphocyte. Yeah, lymph nodes produce. The lymph nodes refers to the part, refer to the organ that produce the lymphocyte and store the lymphocyte there. Yeah, and then what the lymphocyte do? The lymphocyte will produce the antibodies. Yeah, and then the last one is transportation of fat soluble substance. Yeah, so fat soluble substance diffuse into the lacteal. Okay, so we had discussed in the chapter 9 that the fat soluble substances such as fatty acid and glycerol, vitamin A, D, E, K will diffuse into the lacteal of the villus, yeah, in the small intestine. And then the lacteals, yeah, are lymphatic capillaries. Yeah, the lacteals itself is a lymphatic capillary. So the lipid droplets and are transported to the thoracic duct and blood circulatory system through the left subclavian vein. Alright, so I think that's all for the 10.7. Yeah, it's already long now. Yeah, very long duration, yeah, for this video. I am sorry for that. I hope you can understand the concept of the concept of what, the lymphatic system. Yeah, the lymphatic system is very important because it complements the blood circulatory systems. Yeah, and also its importance in the body defense and also transport the fat soluble substances. Yeah, alright, okay, and that's all for now. I hope you can read more and more until you do understand, you do understand the concept of the lymphatic system. Alright, okay, that's all for now, girl. Take care, everyone.